Hey guys, Matt Allen, Tim Little, welcome back to Tactical Bassin. We are heading out this afternoon to go do some bass fishing. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. We've only got a couple of hours here before dark, but we've got beautiful warm spring weather. We were both at home thinking, man, we should be out on the water. So come along, let's go do some fishing.
All right, so today we actually, like Matt said in the intro, we only have a couple hours to fish. So instead of running and gunning, reaction fishing, power fishing, today we're actually gonna finesse fish. I'm gonna tell you why. This weather right now, this late afternoon, like you said, 3:30, it's finally warming up. We had ice on the ground this morning, terrible windstorm yesterday, cold front came through, dropped like 20, 25 degrees. So that typically shuts these fish down. So we don't have the time, we don't have all day to run and gun and trying to find a mega school of active fish. So we're gonna pick apart the areas that we are gonna fish very slowly and just try and catch some fish. You know, today's not really about blast them, it's more about not blanking and just having a good time and enjoying the weather. Don't get caught up this time of the year. Sometimes this weather can be kind of tricky. So even though it feels warm, it feels good, remember that it takes those fish a little bit to warm up, to get used to that water warming up and getting active. When those cold fronts come through, you have those cold rains, it can definitely shut down those fish. Don't be afraid to pick up the finesse rod.
Hey buddy, thanks for coming to visit. That is one white, deep, cold bass right there. He ate that 6-inch straight tail Robo Worm on a shaky head. Let him go home. So essentially what's happened, guys, is these fish, in February, they start making moves in this part of the country. They want it to be the pre-spawn, but these storms roll through and just butcher it, drive those fish right back off. So I actually caught that fish dragging behind the boat. I mean, you're talking like wintertime stuff. It's 16, 17 feet of water. But when these storms come through, I mean, today's gorgeous, but it takes these fish time to recover. They were up here in these docks, and when that stuff starts beating on them, they don't leave. They don't go back out to the winter haunts. They just back down below that stuff. And it takes some time to get back to it. We're just picking our way through, little by little, catching the fish that we can today, instead of just beating our heads on the wall. We've got a little bit different approaches going on today. Tim went true finesse. He's got, and down in the video description we'll link you the exact baits, like the exact hook, the exact color, what each one of us had confidence in. But he went down to a drop shot and a Ned Rig, full finesse, just as far as you could go to get some fish going. I went the other way. I still went finesse. I still want to get bit today, but I went with a shaky head and a finesse jig, hoping that I could still catch some quality fish in the mix. That finesse jig in particular still allows you to get those big bites, but I'm able to throw it on really light line because of that little hook. So you can get more bites, you can get those fish to bite, but in theory still get that really big one. Tim, on the other hand, true finesse, he should get way more bites, but in these circumstances, you just never know what'll happen. It's an interesting thing to see what these fish respond to and what they don't respond to as we go.
All right, I can definitely see the results from yesterday's windstorm. Lost a lot of visibility. You know, before it was 8, 10, 12 foot some places. Now we're looking at like 18 inches to 2 feet. So we're gonna run over, try another spot where we left fish biting a few days ago, and see if they're still there. They should be protected from the wind, and see if we can get them at least to commit to the little finesse baits.
We just spotted a fish on the graph, so we both cast back, letting our baits go to bottom, see if we can get them to convert. Nice work.
Oh, he just came off.
No. Well, he converted them anyway.
A for effort.
Got him halfway.
I don't know why that guy came off.
Crazy. These fish have been up a lot shallower. Same thing I said before. We were over on the other side when we started this video, and that side is a lot more mud, sand, but there's docks there. So those fish move up into those docks. But when they pull out, they really don't have anything. They're just sort of out there on that open bottom. They've just backed down a little bit deeper. So we came over to this side. This side, same thing. It's a ledge. You've seen us fish here before. But what we've got going on here is it's rock. It's everything from like fist-sized rock up to big boulders. And it comes out really slow, out to about 8 to 10 feet. And then it breaks and rolls out into the 30s. Another fish. Nice. So these fish have been moving up. We got a few nice days in a row. They got pretty shallow, but now they've backed out. That one that Tim just had on, a fish was in 22 feet of water. These couple are in 15 to 17 foot right here. Hopefully, obviously the light's getting lower. We're going in and out of the shadows. We can get a couple more and just wrap up an all-around good evening. If we'd come out here and tried to push hard and get on a school and catch a bunch of fish, it would have been a disappointing day because of the conditions. But when you just take it easy, just try and put a couple of fish in the boat, you can have a great time.
All right, so this evening's going about as well as we thought it might go. It's exactly why we brought the rods and the baits that we did. I think in the last hour and a half, I've had one bite. Matt, you've had?
You had 2 bites. I had 1 bite.
2 bites and 1 bite. But that's why it's called fishing and not catching. So the 4 baits that we brought out today, I'm gonna talk about my 2. I'll let Matt talk about his 2. For me, again, post-frontal conditions, water temps dropped. I knew these fish are gonna be shut down on the bottom. And that's why I brought the Ned Rig. The Ned Rig is very unintrusive. You can drag it in front of their face, just let it soak there and get one of those fish to commit. Even today's conditions, we've yet to be bit on the Ned. I mean, it's super finessey, about as finessey as you can get besides like a fly or a floating fly or something, but even that, no bites. This is that Robo Worm. That's that desert craw color that I really, really love. Paired that up with that Swagger tungsten head, smaller head, more sensitivity, but just a grinder this afternoon. But again, fishing, not catching, but we're out here. It's a beautiful day, beautiful evening, better than sitting at home watching TV or on the computer. The next bait that I brought out, the 2 that I brought out.
There you go. I'll take your Ned Rig back.
Is going to be the drop shot. Drop shot, you know, it's one of my confidence baits. Definitely one of my most confident finesse baits. But the reason I brought this out today was exactly how I got bit. When you see a fish on the hummingbird up front, you can drop it straight down, get that bait right down, right on that fish, and try and pick it up. I don't know why I lost that fish earlier, but it worked. Both Matt and I saw that fish on the graph. We both dropped down to it. Shake, 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 thunk, set, fought it 3/4 of the way of the boat, and it came off. But par for the course today. You know, that's kind of what how it's been going. But Again, little drop shot rig. That's a 7-pound sniper Sunline paired up with this is an Owner Mosquito Light hook. That is the Strike King Dream Shot in like MM3, Margarita Mutilator 3. And I have that paired up with a tungsten, Swagger tungsten drop shot weight. Very, very sensitive rod. This is the NRX drop shot rod and an X-Sense, but today, you know, the fish just aren't biting. You know, there's been boats coming in and out all around us the last hour, hour and a half, and we have yet to see anybody set the hook or catch a fish. It just happens. Again, beautiful night, beautiful weather, but the fish just aren't ready to go yet. Hopefully tomorrow, once this weather stabilizes, kind of lets them reset and get warmed back up, and they'll start moving back up to the shallows where they backed out of, and to start their pre-spawn stuff again. But Matt, what'd you bring out today?
Yeah, here, can I just hand this to you? You know, it's kind of silly after we come out here and just struggled to do a recap for you, but the real reason that we're doing this is because we knew we had brutal conditions. We just didn't want to sit at home. If we caught anything, we were winning, and we both got bit. So we know, we see the comments, we watch what you guys say. We talk all about the good. We talk about those schools of fish, we talk about power fishing, moving quickly, building patterns, but bad weather comes through in the spring. It's part of it. It will slam your lake. Here, our visibility crashed. Other places, you're getting blown out with mud. You know, circumstances come that just kill your bite. There's no way around it. And we see in the comments that some of you are having huge success, but other guys are just struggling. It's just not working for you. You're struggling to get bit at all.
I appreciate you handing me a rod that was snatched. Here, can I just hand this to you? Sure.
Oh man, oh, that's good stuff right there. So we know that some of you are struggling. So even though we've got tough conditions today and we're really not doing well, we knew what to throw for the circumstances. We know the baits that have consistently produced before in similar conditions. And that's why Tim's being so specific with that drop shot, telling you exactly what he's using. Because if you get into similar circumstances, or you're just continuing to struggle as we're coming out of winter going into spring, those baits, this very specific setup works really, really well. So for me, what I brought out, I covered this earlier, it's what I actually caught a fish on. 6-inch fat Robo Worm, Margarita Mutilator. It's a bright purple worm. I'm throwing it on a shaky head. It's actually 10-pound line, throwing it on a bait caster. It's actually my jerkbait combo, but it doubles really well. So threw a shaky head on there. I didn't go as finesse as Tim did. Like I said earlier, my hope was that if we were grinding it out, we didn't know it would be this tough. I was hoping we'd each get a couple of fish in the boat. And with that in mind, I was hoping by going with that little bit bigger bait, especially a shaky head, there's something about it that just gets good quality bites. I was hoping that if I crossed paths with a bigger fish, I would get it. And then my other bait is that little Finesse Jig. So what that is, Dirty Jig's Finesse Jig paired up with a 5-inch Yamamoto double tail grub. Just a really small jig, really small profile. It works extremely well. I don't know if you guys can see how small the hook in there is. It's smaller than my shaky head hook. So I'm throwing this on the MBR rods. You guys know I preached about those all last year. The MBRs are so consistent because I can do almost anything with them. So I took a rod that was already spooled up. I threw 10-pound line on it and a Finesse Jig because I knew that if I had already caught a fish, I could switch over to the Finesse Jig and my odds are just that much better that when I cross paths with a big one, I get that bite. I knew Tim would be cleaning up on them, throwing the really, really small stuff. Thought he would be cleaning up on them. I can't do it for him. What can I say? It's tough out here. But I was hoping that I'd cross paths with a good one and be able to put that fish in the boat. So even though this evening has not gone according to plan, these are the baits
that we have confidence in when the going gets tough. We'll link the exact baits, the colors, etc. down in the video description. But guys, we appreciate you coming along. Not every day is a smash fest. We hope they are. We hope we just go out there and smash on those fish, catch piles of them. But sometimes the weather doesn't cooperate. This was one of those setups. Today is gorgeous, but you just can't get away from what happened yesterday. You know, 4, 5, 6 foot waves coming through here, just destroying everything. There's no way around it. If you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed coming along when it wasn't just, we weren't just smashing these fish, we were actually having to work and watch that graph and focus and adapt, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. When you subscribe, turn on those notifications, hit that bell so you know when new videos are coming. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon.